We are live in some places.
In some ways, we are live.
Super alive. There we go. Okay, just patience. We're about to go live on Insta. We're live on Insta too. Hello, Instagram world.
I'm
Hello.
getting an alert now. Facebook. Hello, Facebook.
Yay! If anyone's here live with us, alive, feel free to share this.
Yeah.
I do it because we're talking.
Okay, I'm going to try this. I feel like I'm echoey.
Okay.
I'm going to try this and see if I'm less echoey. Better?
You sound more like vivid color.
Oh, I'm a vivid. I'm so vivid.
You're so vivid.
There we go.
Well, welcome everyone. This is my wonderful friend, Linda Rizzoli. In case you don't know her, we've had lots of chats together. So, and we wanted to come live here today because we were having this cool conversation. The Riz actually instigated it. And I was like, can we talk about this? Because this is so beautiful. And really kind of catapulted off of something that we did with Dane yesterday, essentially. Yeah. So we were on a Zoom call with a bunch of people, and then Dane did some magic wizardry, and afterwards we were both like, wow. Yeah. So can you start to share like about the book that you're reading and some of the energies?
Yeah. So I'm going to go way, way back. Julia Sotis had asked Gary Douglas a question. How do I get more conscious? And Gary said, read anything, just read, just get reading. So as a little girl, I read. I mean, Cassie, were you like that? Did you read a lot?
Yeah. Bookworm, like just obsessed.
Bookworm. Yeah. And I kind of put it away somewhere along the way. And I started reading only for like education and not for pleasure.
Right.
And so this like comment that of Gary's of like, just read anything, read a cookbook, read a novel, read. I started reading again. And for the last year, or maybe even more, I've just been like voraciously reading. And I am so into fantasy.
Me too.
Yeah. So this story actually so involves you, Cassie, because you had done a live about dragons, if you remember, on Halloween.
Yeah.
And I had asked, right? Ask and receive. I had asked, like, hey, do you know any books where I could get more of this dragon energy?
Right. You did ask that. Yeah.
So you had suggested a book that I had read and I had kind of forgot about it, but I had even forgot I asked that question. And I started reading this magnificent series written by Robin Hobb. Like, so much gratitude to Robin Hobb. It's called Realm of the Elderlings.
Oh, I love that title.
So it's like a big arc of all of these trilogies that are feeding into building this world. And they, along the journey, begin to introduce dragons. And I was kind of like, I didn't like the dragons. I was like, dang, this is kind of like not what I want a dragon to be, you know?
Yeah.
Darn it. And I kept sticking with it, and I start reading. They're like, dragons have died in this world, and they're reintroducing them. They are, coming out of the depths to be born. But the world has changed so much from the time of dragons that everything that's required to support a dragon isn't present in the world. So they're born malnourished.
Oof.
They're born weak and deformed physically, as well as like within their being. They have this distant memory of what a dragon is, but it's just enough to frustrate them because they know they're not that.
Yes. Yes. You're getting me.
Yes. So how many of us were born with like all the energetic support that we need? How many of us were born into families and places, had people around us that were like energetically nourishing and nurturing our awareness, our capacities, our magnificence? How many of us are like frustrated because we only have like this wispy, distant memory of what we should be?
Mm-hmm.
And we just know it doesn't like quite match what we are and what's showing up.
Yes.
So do you remember, Cassie, what Dane was talking about yesterday that really kind of sparked this?
Yeah, well, towards the end, or actually when he leaped on this amazing person, I always say his name wrong, but it's like Fede, something like that. He's beautiful. And he was talking about how Dane's so supportive. And, you know, if you're looking at this class and you're wondering, should I just take the leap because Dane will support you, even if you're online? Because there's that disconnect. Sometimes we feel like, well, I'm just over here and no one notices me, and I'm just like, no one would even notice if I was here or not, you know. And to really acknowledge the supportive energy that Dane is when he facilitates classes was so beautiful, and it got me, because I was like, yeah, I don't know if I've ever really acknowledged that. That Dane, and if you guys don't know Dane, Dr. Dane here, he is the co-founder of Access Consciousness. He's fabulous, and you should look him up because he's awesome. You can go to accessconsciousness.com. And then so from that, we were talking like that supportive energy, like you're talking about the energetic nutrients. Like,
yes, that's it, Cassie.
Yeah. And for me, I think ESB, energetic synthesis of being, ESB for short, that was my first like advanced class. And it was that way for me. It was like nutrients for my being that I didn't even know I was missing. But that frustration you were talking about, Linda, was exactly how I was living my life. And so frustrated. I was like, multiple times, like, I don't even want to be here.
Yeah.
I don't even want to be here if I can't be all that I know is possible. Why would I want to have like some lesser version of that? And yeah, so the ESB is like that nutrients, that nurturing the class itself, and Dane himself as a facilitator. Pamela says, wow. Yeah.
Wow. Hey, Pam. She runs my bars.
Yay!
This is lady.
So I think that's part of how we started to have that conversation of acknowledging, like, just like these dragons, like what if a lot of us are these dragons that have just not had the nutrients, the nurturing, the nurturance to our being and our body to be able to like take that ramp, fly, snap those wings in place, like come out of that deformity of being.
Yeah. So in this novel, the journey that these dragons are on, the ones that some of them just give up. Some of them just give up and they're just like, I'm out, they die. And but they are fuel for the others then to keep going. And they go on this long journey, of course, through all these adventures, and they eventually discover this space, this place where dragons are the energetic nurturance that you're referring to, Cassie, like the physical, the energetic, the nourishment that these dragons need to become lean, flying, functioning, healthy dragons. They have access to it.
Wow.
And one of the things they discover is a ramp, so that even the weakest of them can like barrel down this ramp and leap into the sky and like snap out their weak wings and like allow the sky to support them, and in flying become what they are meant to be. But they can't become that while lumbering along the ground. They've got to take that leap. And that's something that Dane was actually a way that he was describing that energetic synthesis of being as this ramp where no matter how weak we feel within ourselves, how malnourished we feel, when we step into that class with Dane, the support that we've always known we should be receiving, there it is.
There it is.
There it is. So I was also thinking this, like, what if I was short? Like, what if my hair was falling out? And I was just like, gosh, I'm so ugly. Look at me. I have no hair. But really, what if I just needed like some vitamin K and magnesium, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's not because I am less than. It's just because I require some nourishment. So I wonder where energetically in who you be in the world, where are you judging yourself as less than when really you're just a little malnourished?
Yeah. Yes. And where can you seek that nourishment?
Where can you seek that nourishment? What was that?
Go
I
ahead.
want to hear more about your first ESB, Cassie.
Okay. Well, I was very malnourished.
Yeah.
I felt I had been in a very abusive relationship for, I think at that point, 10 years. And before that, I was always trying to nourish everyone with me. You know, and I'll be the nourishment for you. And
Wow.
but never receiving nourishment for myself. Does that make sense? So
Mm-hmm.
here I am, like trying to support my family, and then I get married, and then I'm trying to support him, and then I have kids and I'm trying to support them, and I'm just like more and more depleting my stores, depleting my reserves, like, and starting to believe a lot of lies about myself.
Wow.
Yeah. And really about the world. You know, as a kid, I was like, oh, magic's just real.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
I'm just a dragon.
right, yeah. Yeah. And I would just think stuff. Like I would like make clouds move, and like I would just be like, yeah, you're gonna look like this now. And it would just like I would just do, like, I have a memory of like levitating. Like I had like it was, and then somewhere along the way, I don't know exactly the moment, I think it was just a slow programming.
Yeah.
Like, oh, the world's like just dull and pale and depressing. And then I stumbled across this Access stuff and eventually got myself to this ESB class.
Yeah.
To this point, because I had done the core classes. So there's the Access bars, which is miraculous on its own. Like it just changed my body and my life. But to me, it was still like this technique, this pragmatic technique that you kind of use. And then Foundation was so cool and really acknowledged like things that I always knew were true and real, but no one had ever spoken about them. So I was like, wow. But ESB for me was like, my kids would call it the GOAT. It was like stepping into a realm of magic that I had like lost connection to, like the dragons having lost connection to that nutrients, that nourishment. And I recall just being like, oh, magic is real.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Like, oh, okay, I wasn't wrong. Like I wasn't just this silly kid with some idea of like, Chantal, hi,
Dragons.
And really, and that's the whole class. Like we went into, I love weird and unusual, and that's where Dane was going. And this was my first real exposure to him as a facilitator. Like I'd seen stuff online, but it's really different when you're in class. And the things that we're like talking about, and I'm like, this is just like finally enough. I want to say strange, peculiar, mysterious, and weird at the same time for me to get that big gulp of water I've needed, you know, like, you
Yeah.
know, it's so thirsty, but it's like, there's something missing in the water, like whether it's electrolytes or there's like, you're like, I just can't get hydrated. I was like, finally.
Yes.
Getting it. This is it. And those pumping ESB energy. I was like, more. Yeah. So I loved every moment of it. I had some huge like breakthroughs personally. But even just being there witnessing these people, like basically their wings snapping into place, like them flying, them being courageous and vulnerable. It just that changed me on its own.
Wow. Yeah.
And then I got addicted and I just took as many ESB's classes as I could. I was just like, when's the next one?
The gateway drug, ESB.
Yeah. I was like, but I really got like that. I was replenishing those stores, those reserves of nutrients that had been depleted. And that's what ESB, like an overall energy of what it created for me.
I love that, because in this book, I'm obsessed with this book. These dragons, like along the way, finally they find this city where they're meant to be, kind of where they can get all of the support. And one of the things is heat. They have been like cold and damp their entire life, and finally they find these places where they can just soak in this heat, where they can spread out and just like bury themselves into this heat that their bodies actually need to be able to be as strong as they need to be to fly. And that's totally what the energy of it reminds me of what you're saying. Like, finally, I've been cold for my whole life, and here I am. Here's the heat that I need.
I love that, Linda. And you hear actually about people that, you know, they do like move to another city and they thrive, or their business thrives, or they change careers, you know, like they're like, I'm just going to be a janitor. Nothing wrong with being a janitor. But if it's not like they're like that energy for them, and they keep pushing through and they keep pushing through, and then they finally change and they're like, oh my God.
Yeah.
This is what I've been missing my whole life. This is an energy. This is a possibility that actually supports. And I love that you keep bringing it back to that supportive energy for the body, for the being. Like, how many of us are actually surrounded by that supportive energy, and how many of us are just surviving and getting through?
Yeah. Wow. It is even a brave choice to allow yourself to have that support. It can seem in the eyes of many unnecessary, and therefore you shouldn't choose it.
Oh yeah.
You know, but maybe it's not necessary, but is it required?
Yeah, is it required if you want to have that bigger beyond survival?
Yeah, you could lumber along the ground your whole life, and many people have, and that's one choice. And is there another choice rumbling?
It's a yes for me. And I love that you said that, because I was always I was never looking for support. I was looking for who I could support. Yeah, I was going to ask, how was it for you? Like,
I wonder though if that's a good trick. You know, we can trick ourselves into things. So let's say you went to your first ESB because you thought, I will be a better support for everyone else around me. And I bet you that was actually true.
Exactly.
And to be that better support, you learned to receive support.
Yep. Wow. One of the biggest things that came up in that class for me was receiving. You're so psychic. Yeah, I remember I bought, Dane has written this book called Embodiment, and I love it. And the cover, I was just like, I need this book. I don't even know why. So I bought the book, and I see him standing there, and it's like this beautiful coat and whatever. And I run up and I just start rubbing my book on him. Like, oh, and I'm like, oh, I'm just like getting some of your energy on here, whatever. And he's like, well, a hug might, last longer.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. And if you have not experienced a Dane hug, everyone in their life should experience a Dane hug. I'm just like,
Wow.
so he gives me a hug, and I was like, oh, and then I just started crying. And he's like,
Wow.
well, what's the tears about? And I said, I've been trying for 3 days not to take anything from you, and I just
Wow.
couldn't stop, like, in this hug. Like, I had no choice. And he's like, okay. He's like, what if it's not taking? What if it's receiving? And then I just cry more, as one does.
Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, it's like learning how to receive support has been one of the, I don't want to say challenge, but maybe a big adventure in my life, of like, and the more I can receive support, funny enough, the more I sense I'm supporting other people in a greater, different way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's beautiful. That is so, so beautiful. Like the courage to allow the energetic synthesis of being and Dane to support you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Dane's really into dragons right now.
So into dragons.
The dragons.
Yeah. I love it. When he gets on to something, he's on to it. He is on to the dragons.
I was talking with a friend the other day, and I was saying, how can we be so obsessive that we just like get so obsessed with something and at the same time have such a short attention span?
Yep. That's ADHD at its finest, I feel.
Yep.
It's the superpower of ADHD. Yeah.
Well.
So Linda, I want to hear a little bit about you and like you personally with
Mhm.
ESP and support and all that stuff. Like let us know.
Yeah, that was super interesting because yesterday during this Zoom that Dane had done for us, he talked a bit about how he discovered ESP, this way of facilitating energy that is unique to him, and how it was nothing. He was doing nothing. So I first heard about ESB and it was kind of like a prerequisite that I had to do. So I was just like, okay. I wanted to go live. There was one in Denver and I was inviting people to come with me. I'd never been live to a big access class and no one would come with me. So I was like, oh, like I can't go by myself. My wings weren't strong enough yet. I couldn't do that. Right? Nothing wrong with that. So I stayed at home and I did the class and I actually I don't have a clear memory of any part of that class.
Mm.
I have so many classes I can tap in, I can tell you what went down, and that class was like nothing. But it was Dane, you know how they say everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to me to be. So there is still just this sense of that nothing continuing to have its way with who I be in this world. It's continuing to nourish me like in a gentle way, not like an aggressive stabbing me in the butt with a big syringe of vitamin B.
Get your nutrients.
Get your nutrients, Linda.
Wow.
Yeah, so the me who I am now is very, very different, like you're talking about, than that me, than the pre-ESP me. And yet it's still all me. It was always there.
Vitamin being.
Vitamin being a big shot.
Love it.
Vitamin being right in your butt.
Yeah. And I love it.
Go ahead.
Well, you just saying like it was always there. Just like in the
Yeah.
story, the dragons, they're dragons. Even
Yeah.
if they are not flying, if they're lumbering along, even if they're
Yeah.
freezing and like such a gift to get to the space, whatever it is, if it's a class or you just need the sun or whatever it is, where
Yeah.
you go, oh, I've always been this. Like
Yeah.
I am a dragon.
Yeah.
I've always been this, but I just
Yeah.
didn't one know, and I didn't have what I required
Yeah.
to thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. Support can come in infinite ways.
Yeah.
And I wonder what support is reaching towards you right now.
Whew.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what would it take to receive it?
What would it take to receive it?
Do you need to cry on some stranger's jacket?
Do you have any information on this beautiful upcoming ESB class that we are tapped into?
Yes. So this class is there's many ESBs. They happen all over the world often. This one is really special to me. I just have this I might cry, so maybe I shouldn't talk about it. Just the sense of like what's possible. And it's live in Australia. So it's going to be in Melbourne, March 7th to 9th. But here's the thing, magical people, you don't have to go live. If you want to go. If you're like the land down under, maybe that's your space of nurturance and you want to be in that warmth and be in that part of the land. But it's also online, and it's at a really good time for, like, I live in Canada, so does Linda. All the Americas, essentially, you can receive this class from the comfort of your own home. You can like you, Linda, being like, yeah, like, okay, I'm not going to go live. And however it is, like, back to that space of receiving, like some of us receive best when we're snuggled in bed, or we're just in a comfort space, or maybe it's like you have your kids around you, or the convenience of like, I have to work, but I can do this after work, there's a million different ways to play with this. But I just feel so lucky to be able to attend this class at home right now. Again, March 7th to the March 9th, online or live, like whatever is light for you. And what if this is the support and the nutrients that you have been looking for to discover the dragon that you are?
Like, mic drop. Yeah.
And we'll be there. We're awesome.
Yeah.
It'll be fun.
We'll be there.
Like online, I think it's really fun because you see your friends and you're like waving and you can type to them, and it's like, it's like you
creep through everybody who's there.
And people will like, it'll be so funny because people will like bring like, this is what I'm eating, or
these are my stretchy pants.
This one woman, she had her daughter in like a blow up dinosaur, like roaring in the background. So it's like
what a gift.
Yeah.
What a gift to the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah. A world that's maybe looking for some dragons.
Hell yeah. Yeah. So come if you'd like. I'll put a link in the description too if anyone wants to click on it and get more information. And otherwise, thank you, Linda, for this beautiful, like, nurturing conversation about all of this magic.
Yeah, my wings are getting stronger, and class hasn't even officially started. So what else is actually possible?
Yes. All right, let's say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone, for now.
Bye.
Bye. Ending in all the places.